Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Four Quarter Show. I am your hostess with the mostest, Mr. Swiss Roll himself, the main event, the showstopper, Mello. And today we have a very great show for you. And wait a minute. It looks like someone's trying to add themselves to the show. Give me one sec, guys. I'm going to see who this is. Hello? Hello? Hey. Hello? Yo, what's going on here? Are you gonna say anything? What's happening? I don't know what's going on here, guys. I'm here trying to. No! Can this be real? Can this be real?
I'm back. And I guess you have some new nicknames since I've been gone. I've never called you half those things in my life, but we'll debate that another time. But yes, I am back, everyone, and I am so excited. Metal, how have you been?
I'm right now ecstatic. I don't know if you can see it on my face. I'm so happy to have you back, man.
Yeah, you finally have your co-host back.
The Four Quarter Show has not been the same since you have, left me abandoned here.
I appreciate Mello taking the reins and continue doing a couple episodes of Four Quarters. It broke my heart seeing the show without me being in it, but I do appreciate some of the guys that were his co-hosts. Unfortunately, you did not come close to the way I debate against Mello because you guys did not beat him the way I beat him when I come in here and I stomp Mello every time we debate. So everyone that is watching, you are going to see the return of the favorites in this show. So thank you so much. Thank you for still sticking with us, even though I wasn't here. But now we're going to get back to real debating now that I'm here,
Basically, Max Kellerman is back.
I know you're not calling me Max Kellerman. Bro, listen, Max Kellerman, get out of here. I'd rather be Shannon. Shannon, boy. Shannon Sharp.
Club Shay Shay has been closed.
Club Shay Shay. What? Club Shay Shay is always open. And you know who's in Club Shay Shay right now partying it up? The Clippers. But we'll talk about that in the show today.
All right, guys. You know what? I'm gonna give it up to you. How about you describe the Four Quarter Show for us, for all of our new viewers out there?
Oh man, it's been a long time. I hope I still remember. 4 quarters. This is a debate show, and this is where we get 4 quarters of debating. Each quarter we hit different topics, maybe NBA, maybe MLB, maybe NFL, and it's usually 12 to 15 minutes. Today we're having a special 15-minute segment for each quarter, and in between the quarters, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, after 2 quarters we have a halftime, and after the 4th quarter we have an OT. Halftime we like to have a little gamble, a little betting, see who can decide game winners, and usually I win those, and then next week the loser has to bring a drink or a food or anything of our choice. So that is 4 quarters.
All right. Before we start quarter number 1, let's acknowledge some of our comments here. We have Gil watching us. It is a big day for Miami sports all throughout, pretty much except for football. It's been pretty huge. And Timmy from the Just Too Sweet show. He's welcoming you back.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I miss this so much. I'm glad to be back debating Mello, something I love doing because I always beat him.
He doesn't, but he loves losing apparently. And okay, it looks like all my stuff was deleted. So give me one moment, guys.
But yeah, guys, I'm sorry I've been gone for so long. I've been studying for the Florida bar, which it keeps getting postponed. Hopefully, I can take the exam on October 13th. That's when it's scheduled to be taken. But since all I've been doing is studying, I wanted to come back and do what I love doing, and that's being the host of 4 quarters. Just getting back to also normal life, real life, and hopefully this can normalize things a little bit. I hope everybody's been safe, and it's a blessing that sports is finally back. Especially real playoff basketball. It's been feeling amazing. You got the NFL back. MLB still doing its thing. But for the most part, I'm so happy to be here.
All right. Are you ready to start quarter number 1, sir, or do you need to warm up?
I can do a couple of push-ups if you need me to, but I'm ready.
All right, let's do it then. Let's start off quarter number 1.
All right, let me put 15 minutes on our clock. Melo, ready, set, let's go.
Let's do it. Quarter 1, we're going to do some NBA talk since, we're in the middle of the playoffs. Man, this feels exciting, especially after last night's game. So we'll start off with the Heat up 2-0 versus the Boston Celtics. Are you surprised?
I actually am surprised that we're up 2-0 against the Celtics, only because I thought the Celtics, I still think the Celtics match up better than the Raptors against us, because I compare the Celtics kind of to how our team is. A good overall team, has a bunch of studs, a bunch of great players, with which I thought had good chemistry up until last night. Apparently the Celtics broke down. But I am surprised that it's 2-0. 1-1, wouldn't have been surprised. I thought we could take a game, but to go down to be 2-0, man, I'm very excited. Heat basketball is back, and it's just amazing to see how fast we've gotten back. What about you? Are you surprised that the Heat are 2-0?
So I predicted a couple days ago that the Heat would win in 6. I, however, said I predicted them to lose game 1, but they came out just as strong as they have been doing every single series, whether it was the Pacers or the Bucks. They came out resilient, and even if they were down double digits, they still came out to win. So I'm surprised, and I know I was talking to a couple people, one of which has been a good luck charm since she started watching the show. Not the show, the games. Her name's Annabelle. I feel like she's a good luck charm for the Heat, and I don't know. I feel like they've shocked me, man. I'm so surprised at how gritty this team is. That Heat culture is, everyone's getting put on notice.
Well, one thing, I'm not surprised that you were wrong about something. Of course, I'm not surprised about that. But I'm also not surprised that we're doing so well. I wish I would have been in the show when the Heat first started playing during the playoffs, because I have been saying it. I know it doesn't count because I was on the show and I didn't say it live, but I was big. Maybe we even go back to the beginning of the season and our predictions. I had the Heat on maybe even the top 4, top 5. I think I was right about that if we go back on some of the episodes.
No, I think, yeah. If I'm not wrong, you might have had them at like 5 or 6. I think I gave them 4 just because I said I want to be optimistic. But I believe you had them like at 5 or 6. You didn't want to give us too much.
Yeah, and that was before we started playing, and I saw how close, how close the team is and how gritty they are. But I've been saying it. I had faith in them making it to the finals. I still have faith making them to the finals. It's easy to say that now, being up 2-0, but even in the beginning, I had tremendous faith. You saw them during the regular season. You saw their hustle, their fight. They don't stop fighting, and that's what I love about them. Dragic is playing with his, like, he is going crazy. A man who is a veteran who just wants to win, and I love that. Yesterday when we were down maybe like 12, he was getting at the team. Let's go. Butler, even on his off offensive days, he gives it to you. Defensively, does what he has to do. Tyler Hero's playing with a guy who just doesn't give an F about anything. He'll take a shot if there's 10 seconds left, and he takes it. I love that about him. Duncan Robinson, he's playing fantastic. The second half was a little okay, but for the most part, giving 18 points, that's huge for someone like Duncan Robinson. And Adebayo, what can you say about him? Every day he brings it. He'll give you, 18 and 10, 20 and 10. He is just a phenomenal young player, and I just love our team. Our team is amazing, and we got to give it up to UD and Iguodala. I think those guys are tremendous leaders, especially UD. And I loved our pickups that we made during the season. So it's just been amazing.
I think one person that's not getting enough credit that I feel like throughout the entire playoffs has been insane is Jay Crowder.
Oh,
Jay Crowder has been out of his mind. He's up there, if I'm not wrong, in this series alone, he's like the second leading scorer, probably behind Dragic, who's also been out of his mind. He's finally making his money's worth, which I love. I'm going to go here to the comments. Kenny saying, let's go Heat, baby. That's right.
Shout out to Kenny. That's my nephew right there. Love you, boy.
What I was going to say was, who do you think is more like the reason for our success? Do you think it's Jimmy Butler? Do you think it's Goran, the Magic Dragon, Dragic? Or do you think it's our lovely Coach Spo?
Man, first I want to acknowledge Crowder, because Crowder is phenomenal. The second I saw that trade happen, I said, perfect move. I knew he was going to fit the Heat culture. Every single team he's in, he never complains about needing minutes or scoring or whatever. He's just that player who wants to go in, and which leads to my next point, which is the comments. The person that I believe is truly responsible for this is Coach Spo. Coach Spo is the one that's doing his magic, fixing up the defenses, changing those rotations, making the right calls, and making the halftime adjustments. I'm not saying that it's not Butler. I know Butler's huge. I know Dragon's huge. But the decision that's being made by the coaching with Coach Spo, I think is phenomenal because collectively this team, they seem ready. And I think that attributes to Spo having that championship mentality from when he had LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Bosh. So that's huge. So I have to attribute it. I have to attribute it to that. And I also have to attribute the success to our rookies and our young players playing like guys who have been here before. And that truly is amazing. And I will add that getting rid of Whiteside and Waiters is probably the most important thing we did this season besides getting Butler. Because Butler fit our culture. Butler's a player, a tremendous player that if you look back, they would always say that he was a cancer, he was bad, a horrible locker room player, this and that. But you know what? He just needed a team who appreciated his fight and the dog that he has in him. That's what I love about Butler. He fits this culture, and Chris Paul will fit this culture too. I'm starting to think that people who are team cancers and stuff like that, they're just people who want to win. That's all it is. Butler just wanted to win. Now he came to a team who said, put your money where your mouth is, and let's go. You want to win? Then let's go. Let's win. And that's what happened. And getting rid of people like Whiteside and Waiters, look at the team now. They love each other. They're friends. When you have toxic people like Whiteside and Waiters, that's what happens.
Okay. I'm going to stop you right here. Whiteside was not toxic.
Yes, he was.
All right, he was not toxic.
Yes, I have insider information who work for the Heat. Yeah, I do. And they told me how much of a toxic person he was in the locker room.
He's not toxic.
Yes,
I'm
he
sorry.
was, and lazy when it came to being on the court.
If you're on this team and you're supposed to be one of the main stars of this team, you're a star, and you're getting paid big bucks, and for some reason the coach that you guys love to praise gives up on you, how are you supposed to feel? Of course you're gonna feel that way. You know
why he gave up?
And that's exactly. Well, no, I'm not done. And that's exactly why. One, I really miss doing this, and that's exactly why I'm not gonna give Spoelstra credit for what we're doing right now. I'm sorry, it's not. I'm gonna give credit to two people. It's Jimmy Butler because he's the one who started with the culture. Because I'm sorry, our team is still made up and composed of the same people, most of the same people that we had last season. We had what? Only the addition of Iggy and Jimmy Butler. That's it. Everyone else is the freaking same. Where was this Dragic years ago? Now I'm going to attribute to Dragic as well. He's my other player that he's finally, with Jimmy's help, he's motivated again. He's playing like that all-star that he was chosen to be. It's because of them. It's not because of Spoelstra. The other day, Jimmy said it after their game 1 victory. He said, Spoelstra's just out there, kind of like shouting at us and screaming things. Okay, but the person that's motivating you is Dragic. He's like, Dragic's the one that's saying, be there, be here, be there. It was not Spoelstra. It's Jimmy Butler who gave everyone that mentality. Spoelstra wasn't telling guys at the beginning of the season, hey, I think you guys should start working out at 3, 4 in the morning and then come to practice. No, it was Jimmy Butler that set it in stone, and then you had Miles Leonard doing it. You had Dragic. You had Bam. You had all these other guys doing it, and they were following suit. They're like, you know what? This guy's the leader. He's the one that's going to take us to the promised land. Not our coach. They are winning despite Spoelstra, because last I checked, up until yesterday, that I don't know what it was. It must have been someone that told him something, because he had something against putting DJJ out there on defense. He was so set on putting Kendrick Nunn out there, who wasn't doing dilly squat. And finally, in his head, like I said, I feel like someone must have said, hey, man, it's not working out. Let's do something else. I don't know if it was Chris Quinn, Juwan Howard, whoever the hell it was on that team, told him something, and it finally got through his head. You know what? Let me play DJJ. And he went out there and balled, which is what he should have been doing from the start.
You're done with your little rant?
You're absolutely right.
But okay, don't rely on time. Okay, I'm definitely gonna talk about this also. I hear what he's saying, but LeBron James left the Heat. LeBron James leaves the Cavaliers. Most teams go to die when LeBron leaves an organization. The Heat did not die. We either made the playoffs or we were maybe 9th or 10th seed, but we never were at the bottom when LeBron left, and we always stayed there. And I attribute that to coaching. This year, we finally got a top star. This year, we finally got Butler. And that is huge. And look what happened when we finally give someone like Spo a player. Look what happens. I don't care. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't care that Phil Jackson. I don't care if you're Phil Jackson. I don't care who you are. If you do not have a star or players around you, you're not going to be successful. And Jimmy Butler is finding a star that we have in the team, and it's working out. And yes, of course I'm giving credit to Butler, and I'm giving credit to everyone, but I'm definitely going to give credit to Spo. And you know what? Whiteside and Waiters were not Heat culture. They were not Heat culture. That's why Spo would bench him, because they weren't good. And that's something that other teams should do. The Timberwolves, Jimmy Butler was in the Sixers, Jimmy Butler was in the Timberwolves, and he noticed players that weren't giving their all. And I bet you Jimmy Butler would have appreciated some of these great players would have got a bench. Spo's not scared to bench someone who's not giving it their all. And that's why Whiteside wouldn't get his minutes. If you're not putting in Heat culture, you're going to get benched. And that's what would happen to Butler. Butler wasn't putting in Heat culture, they would have benched him. Because that's how we do in this organization. And Dragon is showing up because he finally has players who want to play. Chemistry changes. We drafted Tyler Hero. We have Adebayo. We're giving Adebayo our focus and not Whiteside. So now Adebayo feels like, oh, I'm the guy. So it makes him feel comfortable. He has the Heat culture, and the team chemistry with all this talent is what's attributed to all the success. But having Spo, a guy who doesn't give up, and have that team, I'm going to give credit to Spo words too. He never let this team get far behind, even when we didn't have stars. And the last thing that I will say is very important is that Wade finally retired. I know that's not going to be a popular statement, but finally having Wade move on, having his retirement. Last year, that was beautiful. We went through the whole retirement thing, the last dance. But having him just finally get out and now start the new regime, the new Butler, the new culture and everything, I'm definitely going to give the respect to Spo. But I'm going to agree with you that, a lot of it has to do with the players too. But my boy Spo is doing work out there.
I'm sorry, but it's not that hard to be the 9th and 10th seed in the East when your 8th seed is 9 games under 500. It's not that hard. So I'm not going to give credit for him for being mediocre. He's been I'm sorry. If he didn't have – that's why yesterday, I think, he's like number 9 or 10 something on all-time playoff wins in the playoffs. But about 60 of those came from LeBron James and the Big Three era. I'm not going to count that and be like, yeah, it's impressive. He didn't coach those teams.
We shouldn't count any of Phil Jackson's rings then.
Phil Jackson was coaching.
My man had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. My man had Kobe Bryant. He was still coaching. No, let's just take everybody's rings.
He was coaching. What was Spoelstra doing? Spoelstra, you can't tell me Spoelstra was coaching.
You know what he was doing?
LeBron James.
You know what he was doing? He was making sure these players worked hard, because when you have stars, you gotta make sure they work together collectively, because it doesn't take any coach can't just do that. You have to get people to work hard, and Spo does that.
I'm sorry, Spo was not coaching anything in the Big Three era. In those 4 years we went to the finals,
yes, he was, man.
He wasn't, and it's clear. You just go back to 2011. He wasn't coaching. He was letting them go out there and do what they wanted, because we lost that 2011 finals partly because of him. The problem with because of him and LeBron James averaging 19 points a game and 2 points in the fourth quarter. We lost those because of those two. He couldn't be in the game and coach. He got out coached.
We lost that game because Wade and LeBron were not playing the right way. They both were still bashing at whose team it was. And the next 2 rings we won because LeBron finally got the man. You know what? Wade anointed him and said, LeBron, take it. This is your team. And that first year, it was just a confusion. Look, may have been also because LeBron, it was his first time and this and that. Maybe you could attribute it to that. Or you could also attribute it to Wade and LeBron just weren't clicking at that finals.
Okay,
they didn't know who was the guy.
You're right. I agree with you there, because then you go next year and Dwayne Wade gives him the keys to the castle. Absolutely right. But you can't tell me that up 14 points in game 2 and up another like 14 or double-digit points in game 4 that you don't blame Spoelstra. You're up 14. You're starting to lose a lead. You're down now by like 7. And then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, I should call a timeout now. No, man, he was horrible coaching in games during that series, and that's why we lost.
You could blame it on that. You could blame that some of the best players in the world didn't play well. And at the end of the day, LeBron and Wade have no excuse. Really, Coach Spo's not the one out there either. You know, how about
he gets credit. He gets credit
Look at the
when we
Clippers.
win, but not when he doesn't get the fault when we lose.
If you told me that
He gets bailed out for that.
If you told me that Wade and LeBron were putting up great numbers and we lost because of coaching decisions, then I'll give it to you. But that's not what we're going to keep going. But that's not what happened. What happened was Wade and LeBron did not show up and they weren't putting up points, and that is why we lost the series.
Wade had a good series. Wade put up his 20+ points.
Spolstra could have done great coaching, but if your players don't show up, like Leonard and like Paul George, that's what happens. When your star players don't show up in a game 7, what can Doc Rivers do? What can Doc Rivers do if your boys are going 2-20 and they're not doing anything?
You're absolutely right, and especially since you're a star player. But I agree with what Kenny says here. Spo was in a chess match versus Pop. A GOAT. He's not Pop level, but he's great. See, I would agree with this. There's people out there who want to say that Spoelstra is the Popovich of the East. He's not. He's not even close to Pop's range.
Good.
So I agree with you there.
All right, let's do a quick. Let's continue the first quarter.
First quarter. We don't want to move on to number 2.
I just let's just do the Celtics really quick.
Okay.
Let's do the Celtics. Talk about the Celtics because it's not that much to talk about. So let's just get it over with in this little first quarter for just 2 more minutes, and we're going to talk about how the Celtics who's to blame for the Celtics? What's going on with this? Can they come back? Do you think they have a chance?
I think that they're only down 2-0. They have a lot of talent.
Does Tatum have the Mamba mentality? Huh?
I thought he did, especially going through all the other playoff games against the Raptors and things like this. I thought Tatum was that guy. And then at the end of game 1, he kind of showed flashes at the beginning. He was great. He still had his 28 points, something like that. And had he made that dunk, he would have been. I feel like the momentum would have shifted huge towards him. He would have had a lot more confidence. But I feel like that block, if I'm not wrong, he went 0 for 7 in the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter in game 1 and overtime, and just wasn't there. And then game 2, he had disappeared in the fourth quarter as well when they were trying to keep the lead and then come back. So I feel like he's in his head right now. And it sucks for them because Kemba was now starting to figure things out. And I had said it before the series started. Kemba hasn't been there. He's just not mentally there. I don't know what's going on.
Kemba Walker?
Yes, Kemba Walker. He wasn't mentally there. He wasn't playing well. But I said, if he starts to figure it out, Boston is going to be more trouble for us than they already were. And he figures it out, but now Tatum is like, I don't know what's wrong with him.
I don't think Kemba needs to figure out anything. I think you need to give Kemba the ball in the fourth quarter. He makes the big shots.
But he wasn't making them before. That's what I'm saying.
This series, he's been making them. Game 1, he was making them. And then
he started off game 1 slow. It wasn't until the fourth quarter.
But you don't need Kemba to start. You don't need Kemba to put up points. You have Jaylen Brown. You have Jason Tatum. You got a bunch of other players who can put in points. Kemba Walker throws a couple points here and there. You don't need Kemba to be the guy for 3 quarters. You need Kemba to be the guy in the fourth quarter. And if you look
I'm saying he wasn't doing that.
If you look at the Raptors, if you look at but new series. If you look at these last 2 games, Kemba made some big shots. But then you have Marcus Smart making some stupid shots at the end. You have
missing.
Taking some dumb shots at the end. You have Jason Tatum, who just doesn't have it right now in his career. He's not a very good fourth quarter player, and I feel they're trying to force him the ball because they want to make him the guy. When just give it to Kemba. Kemba is he's a fourth quarter killer, and he'll show you. And last night they were only close because Jaylen Brown hit those 2 big threes at the end.
Well, Jaylen Brown was huge in that fourth quarter,
and we were there and we were giving him. They weren't easy shots, and he made them, but. I think the biggest reason for this collapse, and that's not a collapse, but the biggest reason for their woes is the Heat, baby. We're just a better team. That's the reason. There's no other way about it. I don't care. We have the grit. We want it more, and that's all it is. Honestly, that's what I feel it is. We're the better team. I don't think the Celtics are collapsing. As you can tell, they're close games. We're only down 15, but we're that's still close, and we're not giving up. But I am going to say, if you give the ball to Kemba Walker at the end of ball games, I think you have a better chance than if you give it to Tatum.
I agree with you there. Tatum has proven this series that he's just not being able to close it out. So give it to the guy who can close it out, which is Kemba. And you're right. I don't feel like they've collapsed yet because they're still in the games. They're still fighting. It's just we're not going down. I feel like they feel like, okay, we got them, we're up by 12, and then they get somewhat complacent, and bam, that's when we knock them down. How many times did Jimmy Butler just fight for that ball, and then boom, right there, a run starts? There's so many times in these games that's happened. Or Dragic just going in, taking it into the paint, making the layups. Tyler Hero or Jay Crowder making clutch shots.
Man, Tyler Hero. Man, that guy's good.
They're all making clutch shots. They're not afraid of the moment. And that is what I love about this team. You're not afraid of fighting. If you're down by 12, 15, 17, I think they were down by 17 at one point, we didn't give up. That's exactly
what I read an article that says that Jimmy Buckets, Biscayne Buckets. I heard rumors that him and UD in their rooms are sleeping on the couches, on the pull-out couches. They're not sleeping on the king-size bed. They're sleeping on the pull-out couches, and that's because they don't want to get comfortable because it's not vacation. And that's finally in the quarter one. Let's move on to quarter number 2, where we're going to do some more NBA talk, because that's what we're going to talk about. So let's do a real quick Lakers and Nuggets prediction. What do you got?
So I originally wanted to play the Nuggets just because I feel like us getting to the finals against the Nuggets, we have a better chance against them. But my mind has absolutely changed now.
Wait, what? I mean, what? Why did it change? What happened? Why did it change?
So it changed. Well, it was something that you brought up to me. And you actually got me to, see things from another perspective.
Yep.
And the only reason I want the Lakers to advance, to play us, is so that we can beat the Lakers and shove it in LeBron's face for leaving Miami, leaving us high and dry the way he did. I would love it. I would love to just be like, oh, sorry, LeBron, you didn't get your 4th ring, because guess who got their 4th ring? The Miami Heat organization. You should have never left us, especially the way you did. So that's the only reason I want the Lakers to advance now.
Well, we have different reasons. That's not exactly what I told him yesterday, but what I did say last night while we were watching the Heat game, because me and my co-host here, we are friends out of here, and we love watching sports together. So we were watching the Heat game. And I just told him, he knows I love LeBron. You guys know I love LeBron. I'm a big LeBron guy. And my idea was, as a fan, I would love for them to both make it to the finals, Lakers versus Heat, and that way the Heat win. But if the Heat lose, I'm so happy that LeBron won. But as a Heat fan, there's nothing more I would love than for us to beat the Lakers. Because you know what? Yeah, I am a Heat fan. And of course I'm still upset that LeBron left. Just because, I wanted to keep LeBron. Because Pat Riley said it, all we had to do was retool. That's all we needed to do, LeBron. We just needed to retool a little bit. And if you would have stayed, you would have made it easier. But you know what? Heat culture does not give up. We got Butler. Oh, that's a Wade, though. You know what? Pat Riley gets the pieces, but Wade's the one who got us LeBron, Chris Bosh, and he got us Butler. But besides that, we just needed to retool. And it'll mean so much if we could beat LeBron, because it's exactly what the Cavaliers want to do. They would have loved to beat LeBron after he left. And yeah, right now I would love if the Heat could just show them, hey, look, when you left, you could have been here. You could have won 10 championships. You would have had the record. You would have beaten the record for Michael Jordan for the most rings. But not that Michael Jordan owns a record, but to be the GOAT, you want to get more rings than Michael Jordan. But yeah, I guess we both agree the Lakers, different reasoning as to the LeBron thing, but at the end, the same thing. All right, let's move on to NBA talk. Let's get to, I think, my favorite topic of the day.
Oh, boy.
Let's talk some Clippers basketball. Please, I'm so excited to talk about Clippers basketball. I am ecstatic about this. You should start it off, please.
So obviously we all know the Clippers blew a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, and that Game 7 was just atrocious, especially that 4th quarter. I don't know where these guys disappeared to. Paul George was just lost on that court. I had never seen someone take so many shots from a 3-pointer, and it just hit the side, not even of the rim, of the whole damn basket.
Just watch his old playoff games, but keep going.
He played well against the Heat.
Just go watch his old playoff games.
I just couldn't fathom it. Like, where did this man disappear to? Why was he giving all that money? If I were Kawhi Leonard, I would have been so upset. But you could see it on Kawhi's face that he was just so let down. And these guys just blew a a 3-1 lead.
Just go watch last year's Thunder games. Just keep going. Don't worry about it.
For the Thunder, come on, man. Him and Westbrook didn't fit well. I feel like Kawhi and him fit a lot better.
Well. Paul, playoff P, I want to call him. The self-anointed playoff P. That's what I want to call him. Playoff P didn't show up because he always does that. He doesn't show up. When you try to be big dog in a good team, you're not going to show up. That's why he didn't want to play with LeBron, because he knew the pressure that comes with playing with LeBron. He can't handle it. He can't handle having expectations. The reason why his best playoff performances were with the Pacers was because you had zero expectations. You weren't in a big market. You weren't with another star, with a bunch of other stars. It was just you, and that was it. And if you go home, whatever. You know, I lost to a team that had stars. But now when you're put with the Thunder, oh damn, I can't. You got Westbrook, you got Melo, you got expectations. You can't win. Why did what? Fine. You say Westbrook and George didn't go well together. Westbrook and Durant went well together. They made it all the way to the finals. They made it to a Western Conference Finals just fine. Paul George and Westbrook are great players, and they should have made it farther together, but they didn't because Paul George does not have it.
But you know what? Paul George is different than Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, as great as he was, never said, "Hey, this is my team. I'm going to take over." He gave that to Westbrook. He didn't mind being the number 2, even though he was the number 1. Paul George doesn't have that mentality. He wants to be number 1. And maybe that's the issue with this team.
There's one comment on there I need you to put on the screen.
Which one?
You know which one?
This one?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep talking.
LeBron,
leave that up there for a minute. Go ahead.
I can be mad at LeBron plenty. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so maybe that's the issue here with the Clippers, that he wants it to be his team, but Kawhi still is not ready to give up those reins. He's still the best player on the planet. He's the best player on that team.
Do not say you can't be the.
Yes, he can. I can. After what he did with Toronto last year,
you sound like Skip Bayless right now.
After what he did with Toronto last year, he's 1-0 against the Golden State Warriors. LeBron is 1-3 against the Golden State Warriors in the finals. I don't care who got hurt, what happened. He was still a force to be reckoned with, and he got the job done.
You cannot. Okay. I'm not going to argue with that part, even though the logic is complete nonsense.
No one thought the Raptors were going to make it that far, and he did it. He put the team on his back.
I'm talking about this year, and there's no way you can be the best player in the planet and lose this soon in the playoffs. There's just no way.
Why not?
I'm not talking about last year. I'm not talking about LeBron James. I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard, and you cannot be the best player in the world and get eliminated this early. Because if you're the best player in the world, that does not happen to you. If you're the best player in the world, you make it to the finals. Go look back at every single finals, and the best player in the world is playing in that team. I'm telling you, the best player in the world. Last year, fine. You want to tell me the best player in the world is Kawhi Leonard? I'll give it to you. He won the championship. He took a Raptors team that people didn't think would make it that far, even though they were a great team. Siakam came out and played out of his mind, and that was a big deal. Kyle Lowry he did work. Did better than when he was with DeRozan Rosen.
Fred VanVleet.
He's a great freaking player, man. He really is. But you cannot be the best player and get eliminated this during the playoffs, and that's just how I feel. There's no way.
I think it's different. It's not like he's on the East and got eliminated in the second round. If he would have stayed with Toronto, right now they're in the conference finals.
I don't care if it's the East or the West.
I feel like it's a difference.
LeBron James, he's not as good. If he goes to the West, he'll get beat. Okay, he's in the West, first seed.
He has no care in him. Did you miss him all of last year? Did you miss him in that Philadelphia series?
Well, he was hurt, and that's why but I'm not saying that LeBron's the best player in the world. I'm not saying that. You know why? Because if you're not there, you lose that title. You're saying that Kawhi is still the best player in the world, and I'm saying that is not true. It's just not.
I think so. So who did? Okay, so let's see. Right now, Kawhi lost to Denver, right?
Correct.
Right. Who did he play? LeBron. He played Portland, which has an overrated guy who thinks he's a superstar.
That doesn't matter.
That got hurt, so then he was out.
You know what's unfair?
And then
hold on. You know what's unfair? That you just finished saying a couple of minutes ago that you don't care who got her in the championship last year. You don't care about this and that, and now all of a sudden you care about players and who's in the team. That's not fair.
No,
you can't have it both
because
ways.
you're saying that Kawhi had a tougher road playing Denver than LeBron did playing Houston.
I'm not even saying about tougher roads. I haven't said anything about roads. All I've said is that if you lose this during the playoffs, you cannot be considered the best player.
So then who's the best player on the planet right now?
Right now,
yeah,
I'll let you know in the finals. But I will say, I'll let you know right now. In my opinion, who I think the best player in the world is Jimmy Buckets. No, I think it's LeBron James. I believe the best player in the world right now is LeBron James, and he's still showing you that. It's his leadership, his defense. We know it's not that good. It's not as good as it used to be, but he's still giving it his all, and he's doing it offensively. I mean, he's showing it to you. He still has it. But you know what? If LeBron gets eliminated, man, it might be between Jokic and Murray, man. Murray's playing out of his mind. Jokic is playing out of his mind. Hey, you gotta give it where it's due. I'm sorry, you gotta give it where it's due. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
I guess we'll see. We'll see if the cardiac Nuggets can get it done or not.
They're doing it. I mean, I don't think so. I think
there was a stat today that I saw that in the regular season this year, Denver has lost to the Lakers. They played 4 times and they lost 3 times. So they're 3-1. Well, 1-3 against the Lakers this season. So maybe that's a sign. Denver sweep.
It's a sign that LeBron's going to win it, and he's going to show you why he's that good.
Or Anthony Davis is just going to carry him there.
You know what's going to happen? The Nuggets are going to win game 1. Everyone's going to go crazy. Everyone's going to be like, oh, WC, LeBron's not this and that. But that's LeBron's field game. That LeBron goes in, plays game 1, see what happens. And then after that...
See, I don't think the Nuggets are going to win game 1. I think the Lakers are going to come out just because LeBron James is probably going to be a little bit bitter.
Oh, I think
that he didn't win MVP.
I think the Lakers are going to sweep him. I think the Lakers are going to sweep him. I think clean sweep because he wants to show the world. Look how much better we are than the Clippers.
Yeah, I don't see LeBron blowing a 3-1 lead.
LeBron has never blown a 3-1 lead. LeBron will never blow a 3-1 lead. LeBron is the greatest player in the world right now. The Kawhi Leonard is so overrated. And let me explain to you why. He won his first championship, and he was the 4th best player in the team. Tim Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, and Kawhi Leonard was the 4th best player in that team.
Which one of those guys got MVP?
Let me explain to you why. He had one job. Cover LeBron James. And he did it masterful. He deserved that MVP. But in no way in hell was he the best player in the world at that time. He just guarded the best player in the world and dominated.
I'll say he wasn't.
But he wasn't MVP of the league. He wasn't by any means the best offensive player in that team. He did the hardest thing in the court, and that was to cover LeBron
Well, at that
James.
time, that's what he was asked to do, just be defense.
And he did it masterful, and he deserved MVP. And finally, usually defense gets downplayed and he'll get awards for it, but hey, that was the hardest thing to do, and he did it masterfully. But you know what? You're worried about one task, and that's easier. When you're the greatest player in the world, not only you got to show up defensively, but you got to show up offensively.
That was back then.
Okay,
now
that was his first strength. Okay, and then let's talk about the Raptors. Let's talk about how you say the East is the East. It's easy. It's the easy way, right? You're easing to the finals.
Conference finals.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. So that's what he did. So Kawhi Leonard was in the easy thing, the easy road. And then what happened when he made it to the finals? He did work, but we just can't. Kevin Durant got hurt. Klay Thompson got hurt, and that's what happened. And I'm not taking away that championship. I don't want it to be taken away. He earned it. He got MVP. Boom, in the records. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm not calling him the greatest player in the world right now because I'm going to give him his ring, but he does not deserve that title. He hasn't shown me the dog in him. He hasn't shown me why he deserves it.
He showed it last year, man.
He played against a team that didn't have Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson.
He showed it all. He showed it all throughout the series, throughout the season.
Yeah, missing 30 games. Okay, what else? Tell me. He missed 30 games. Like you said,
he didn't miss them. His coaches, said, "Hey, we're gonna save him from when the time is right."
You know what he said recently? They didn't play enough of the season together. Bro, I'm like, you don't even play the season. You're over here saying about we didn't get to play enough games. All right, dude.
I don't think I think, man, the bubble plays a big factor into it because you don't have the crowd. You don't have, going into a hostile environment. You're just going into an empty gym, basically.
You're right, but the thing is,
so I think that plays a huge factor where some guys, if they go into a hostile environment to not have home court, you go in and you're like, shoot, the pressure gets onto you. Here, it's like you're playing against nothing. There's your family there watching. Like, you're not playing in a hostile environment. That's a huge factor to how these guys are playing.
You're right, but it's still a fair ground because
it is.
Everyone has to deal with that.
Yeah,
everyone's
absolutely.
in the bubble.
But I feel like some guys who, in a hostile environment won't perform well,
You know what?
they're going to perform well now.
Ballers show up no matter what. A baller will show up no matter what.
And George Paul apparently has not been showing up.
Well, we learned about George Paul. He can't show up with a crowd or without a crowd. So, all right. So the next topic we have, let's talk about. Let's continue with the Clippers. What's up with the chemistry? Are they done?
I don't think they're done. Like I said, I think they just maybe have to retool one or two things. This team would have beat the Lakers. They would have beat the Lakers, but they weren't set to beat the Nuggets, and it's true. They were just not set. They weren't built to beat them. They were built to beat the Lakers, and I think they were thinking too far ahead. I would still give them another year and see what happens next year, and I think they could beat the Lakers.
Well, their mistake was building a team to beat one team.
Yeah,
that's your problem. Because
and it's the same thing with Houston.
Yeah, I know, because it's not a way to run an organization. You're gonna make a team.
No, you don't play one team to get to the finals. You have to play multiple teams multiple times. This isn't the NCAA where you play one team and then boom, you move on to the next one. No, you got to play this team multiple times. And if a team figures you out and knows exactly what to go through to go for that kill, they're gonna get you.
So I think there's a couple of reasons why the Clippers collapsed. They had this mentality that they thought they were dogs. They had the mentality they thought they were tough-minded. They thought that they were the best team in the world. There's nothing wrong with thinking you're the best team in the world, but those first two things, they weren't mentally tough. You can say it all you want. Hey, talk it, but are you walking it? Can you do it? All they did was talk. All they did was this and this, Pat Bev, laughing it up, just making fun of Ariel, making fun of Dame, talking trash, saying this and that.
I make fun of Dame.
Paul George doing this. We'll talk about that after. It's just ridiculous how they were acting as they were the best team in the world and they hadn't done anything yet.
Lou Williams going to Magic City.
And all of a sudden you want to do this. And then the Montrezl Harrell thing where he was saying that he was trying to tell Paul George something and Paul George couldn't take criticism. That's why you are the way you are. You can't take criticism for your teammate. Someone's trying to help you, give you advice, and you're going to say, don't talk to me that way. That's an awful mentality. And that's probably a huge reason why this happened. They just, like I said before, Kawhi Leonard isn't that guy, and now you're asking him to be that guy more than ever. And then your co-star, I don't want to say your Pippen because Pippen deserves so much respect. Your Robin, he's not showing up either. I mean, it was a disaster. You have Lou Williams leaving the bubble. You have all these other things happening in your organization.
Well, and not to take away from any of that they didn't even want to be there.
Yeah,
they wanted to leave the bubble.
A lot of players didn't want to be there.
So to my mind, they were checked out. They're like, oh, we can either win or we can't. So I thought it was so dumb. I think who was it that said it? Paul George saying that, oh, we didn't expect to be in the finals. Like, get the hell out of here.
When did that happen? What do you expect? That's
like, what the hell were you there for? How do you not expect to be in the finals? I guarantee Kawhi didn't have that mentality.
Man.
So I think this shows just so much about Paul George. And I think Kawhi needs to do the opposite of what Dwayne Wade did with LeBron. Be like, hey, man, you're Robin. This is my team. I'm going to take him to the promised land. You just need to help him do your job. I feel like he has to put him in line, but I don't know. I've never been in a locker room with Kawhi. I don't feel like that's Kawhi's type of role. I feel like he's just going to go out there, do his job, and hope that you do it. I don't see him as being vocal.
He should have came to the Lakers. That's what he should have done.
Carry LeBron?
He should have gone. It's not about carrying. He should have came to the Lakers and it would have been perfect. But he didn't want to. He wanted to go to the Clippers. He wanted to do his own thing. And then apparently he wanted to trade all of their picks for Paul George. And look where it got you. You're gonna have to let go of Harris. Harris isn't the guy. You gotta let go of Harris. Even though 6th man of the year, man, Lou Will. I don't know what he's doing, but Lou Will didn't show up in the bubble. Hopefully he does better next year.
Kenny's bringing up a good point here. He said Doc should have dealt with that and has no control. I wouldn't say too much about. I wouldn't say that. And let's move on to our next topic.
That's a great transition. Yeah. Let's talk about Doc.
Is Papa Doc done in the Clippers? And I don't think so. I feel like there's too many factors that played into it. Yeah, you didn't have the whole season. Yeah, you were in a bubble. So I feel like that's too much. Give him one more year. After this year, if he doesn't figure it out, then I would say Papa Doc is done. But I still think he needs 1 year. I don't think it's anything to do with control. Like, how can you control that? You can't control Paul George not making shots. You just can't.
I think, unfortunately, for Doc, not Pop, because Pop knows what he's doing. For Doc, he's been unlucky in the sense where he's had mentally weak athletes. And I don't want to call athlete mentally weak. I think that's the wrong way to put it. I think he's had the issue of having athletes who don't have that it factor for the end. As far as his stars, let's look back with the Celtics. He had 3 dogs. Those were dogs: Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett,
and then he made another one
and
with
Ray
Rondo.
Allen. Huh?
And then he made another one with
And Rondo. You
Rondo.
had that big 4, and they won a championship. Boom, Doc, great coach. He had it. And then then the Clippers. You had Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan. Chris Paul has it, but unfortunately, Chris Paul can't do it all like that. You need someone like Blake Griffin and DeAndre to do that. And I don't think they're those guys. That's why they were down 3-1 and lost. And that's unfortunately why it keeps happening to Doc. And now you're seeing it now with this team where you just have these 2 guys, this dynamic duo, and they just don't have that it factor, which we have seen multiple times from Paul George in the past. And I already told you Kawhi Leonard's road, we're anointing him the greatest player of all time, the greatest player in the world right now. But if you look at the road, how he won the championship, he wasn't the best team in the we're going to keep going for this one really quick. In the Spurs. And then last year, the road, I'm not saying it was easy because nothing's easy, but he did face a Warriors team that wasn't fully equipped as to its main thing. So at the end, could Doc have done some better coaching? Absolutely. Because Jokovic was doing whatever he wanted with Harris. And then they would definitely, when Lou Williams was in the game, they would attack Lou Williams, and that was the chick in their armor. But they had an amazing defense. You have 2 of the best defensive wing players in the world right now, and 2-way players in the world right now. And then you have Patrick Beverly, Harris, dogs defensively. Oh, you can't score on us. We're these monsters in defense. And look what happens. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think it's Doc's fault.
Jamal Murray, though, was also like, it didn't matter who you put on it.
Your players need to show up.
They do.
At the end of the year, and they didn't show up. Neither of them showed up at the end. So I think
should have never got to that game 7.
I think you got to keep Doc.
I think so too. You got to give him at least 1 more year.
So what do you want to do? You want to keep going or go to OT? What do you want to do?
OT.
Sorry, guys, I haven't been here in 2 months. I'm sorry. Halftime.
Let's jump to halftime.
All right, let's go to halftime.
I'm gonna start halftime off as your reigning, defending, undisputed champion of halftime. It's this man right here, undefeated still. No one's been able to stop me. I've given people plenty of chances. And
are you talking about the guys who were here before me?
Yeah, I gave everyone the tools to succeed, and no one can bring down the big dog. So
I'm right here. The big dog's right here.
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at him. I can see myself right there. Undefeated halftime champion. And, I'm going to give you the reins again to try to stop me, which ain't going to happen.
All right, buddy.
So this week, we're going to go and bet on 3 NFL games. Give us the first one.
All right, the first game that we're going to bet on is Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tennessee Titans.
So, being the champ that I am, undefeated, still with the reins, I'm going to go ahead and pick first. And I'm going to go ahead and, pick with the team of the man who owns All Elite Wrestling. And that is the Jacksonville Jaguars with none other than Gardner Minshew at the reins. Surprising everybody. Getting that dub last week. I'm saying they're going 2-0 and beating the Titans and taking a hold of that AFC South.
As much as I love the quarterback of the Jaguars, and I really hope they go 8-8, because I really want the Jaguars to go 8-8 because they're trying to tank, and that is going to crack me up if they have a winning record. I'm going to go with the Titans on this one, and I'm going to give it to. I think Tannehill's he's gonna pick apart that defense. I think Tannehill's gonna
what
pick
defense
it apart.
has Tannehill ever picked apart except his own?
I think Tannehill. This is the game. The Jaguars don't have a good defense, and Tannehill's the quarterback who can put up some numbers. If you go look at his stats, he gives you 4,000 yard seasons. I'm a Dolphin fan. I should know this. He can't win big games, and he's But actually for the playoffs last year.
How many yards was he averaging in the playoffs? Like 89 yards.
But it's okay. It's okay because
it was not him.
Derrick Henry. It's okay.
You're right. It's all him.
But
they could stop him.
But he's a seasoned quarterback, though. Tannehill's a seasoned quarterback. We'll check out the stats, and I think he's going to put in the work in this game. Write that one down. You can say game number 2.
All right, game number 2. I'm going a little homer here. We're going the New York Giants versus the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, you know I'm not going for the Giants.
I'm obviously going to go with my team. Never root against them, even if they're up against, the Seattle Seahawks. I'm still going to go Giants no matter what.
I'm going to go with the Bears. Trubisky. Let's get it.
Yeah, we'll see how good Trubisky does. And then last but not least, I'll let you say this last one.
And it's going to be the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1 against the Buffalo Bills. I know, guys. I know I should probably not do this one, but my Dolphins are going to beat the Buffalo Bills this weekend. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Maybe not. Hopefully, yes, they will. Yes, they will. Dolphins will win. Fitz Magic is going to show up because he shows up randomly for certain games, and Fitz Magic is going to look at that one and go, I want to beat that team today. Watch, it's going to happen.
I didn't know that the 4 quarter show turned into a comedy show when you were on.
Oh, man.
I'm sticking with the New York teams, with the Bills Mafia, breaking people through tables. They're going to take the dub against the Dolphins. Dolphins ain't got no shot until they get Tua up there. Tua's still, being, groomed behind Fitzmagic. And Fitzmagic ain't going to do diddly squat.
All right, well, when I win, I would like for you to bring me a nice bottle of wine. That's what I want.
Oh, a bottle of wine. Okay, so then when I win, what do I want?
Don't think too hard.
You know what? I want you to bring me a nice little scotch.
Oh, a scotch. Okay.
A little scotch.
Okay, a scotch. All right, so I want a good wine, though. I want a good one.
I'll get you some good wine.
All right,
now red or white? Red or white?
I don't want some $5 wine from Publix. It needs to be at least maybe $15-$20 bottle of wine.
You don't want that Carlos Rossi? It's pretty good.
I want some $15-$20 bottle of wine. Price tag on that one. Bring me a white wine. Bring me a white wine. Yeah, a nice little white wine. I'm not gonna be eating. Just let me sip on that nice little white wine so I can have it during 4 quarters. So when I win this week.
I mean, this is all hypothetical because I'm not gonna have to end up getting the wine since I'm not gonna lose. But if by chance the halftime gods are with you and you somehow pull it off, what do you want to dry? Do you want a little sweetness to it?
Surprise me. I want a surprise on that one. And with that surprise, let's surprise you with our sponsor. No, I'm kidding, we're not a sponsor. All right, let's go to quarter number 3. What are we talking about? Quarter number 3.
We're going with, if I'm not wrong, some more NBA talk.
Oh,
it's been a while, guys. So we're just throwing all the NBA out there.
All right, so let's start off this quarter with. Should we do the NBA awards, or do you want to first start off with the Rockets?
Let's do Rockets, and then we'll jump NBA.
All right, let's do some Rocket talk, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of the Rockets, they just poor Rockets, poor Harden, poor Westbrook. Man, Westbrook. Why does nobody want Westbrook? What's wrong with our boy Westbrook? Is it his fault? Is it D'Antoni's fault? What's going on?
I'm going to blame it on the organization for getting rid of Clint Capella and going with this small ball. That there was no way you were going to win that series. Even if they could have played the Nuggets, they would have lost. They could have played, they played the Lakers and lost. They could have played anybody. They would have lost because they don't have a big man. PJ Tucker cannot be your center, and you expect to win against Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis had a field day with this Rockets team, and that was their biggest mistake. It was giving away Clint Capella, going with this small ball nonsense that you weren't going to beat these teams. They wouldn't have beat anybody. There's no way. That small ball's only going to get you so far, and then they lived and died by the 3, and that shit wasn't falling either. So I don't know whose choice that was, but whoever it was, they should get fired. I understand D'Antoni was also going to get fired for losing the series. There was no way they were going to keep him like the Clippers were going to keep Doc for another year. There's no way. And I believe when Harden said they're one piece away, I agree with that. You need a center. You need a presence in there. And without that, they're not going to win. So I don't blame it on Westbrook. I don't think he's overrated. None of that, because the man is an MVP. He's averaged a triple-double back-to-back years. So for them to say he's overrated, I think is nonsense. They lost this because they didn't have that key piece, which was the center, to be able to keep contained or even just be a presence to Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. Everyone always says centers don't get enough credit, I should say. Centers, they say it's a lost art here in the NBA now. It's all about three-point shots. But the second you have a big man, that changes everything. Look at the Nuggets with Jokic. I mean, look at the Lakers with Anthony Davis. These are just game changers. So, and to think that you could just go small ball, to assume that you're going to play the Warriors only or any one of these teams, it's ridiculous. You need to have somebody there. Trade for JaVale McGee, something. Like, you just need a body.
Like a Tyson Chandler.
So to have absolutely nothing is ridiculous. It also doesn't help that it's a first year with Westbrook and Harden doing that chemistry together. Westbrook got hurt in the playoffs, and I think it was D'Antoni's fault at times for leaving Westbrook in at the end of games, knowing that his shot wasn't there and Westbrook wasn't really playing the way he should be playing. Westbrook, I know he gets a lot of hate, sometimes deserved, sometimes not deserved. I still think he's an amazing player, a phenomenal player, but he just hasn't had some of the right teammates. And I feel Harden's one of those guys that's not really the right teammate. And that I get that also when Chris Paul was playing with him, I think Harden just might not have that it factor to be the leader, but I think D'Antoni needs to go, man. I don't think he's doing it. I think D'Antoni's a bum.
Kenny chiming in with the hot takes.
And I do want to laugh at one thing that I kept hearing, and that was that the Rockets were saying, and I also heard it from Skip. I think Skip said this, that House, they lost because House wasn't in the team.
Daniel House?
Daniel House?
Who?
That's why?
The man that was averaging...
Can you imagine?
He was averaging 6.5 points and 4 rebounds.
Can you imagine if the Lakers get eliminated?
There's no way.
And Shannon Sharp would say, Avery Bradley wasn't there. What? You lost because Daniel House, not Harden, not Westbrook, but you're going to tell me because Daniel House wasn't there, that's why you lost the series? No, it's because you don't have a center and you got a coach that's not that good and a team that just wasn't ready.
And a coach that doesn't even focus on defense.
You weren't ready to play with the big dogs. That's all that was. So let's move on to the next topic now that we got rid of that. What's next?
So let's jump into NBA awards. Right, we got everyone up to today. Everything's been crowned except for I think the executives and all that stuff. So let's see. I'll start chiming things off. You can tell me if you agree or disagree. We have most improved player went to Brandon Ingram from the New Orleans Pelicans. He beat out Bam and Luka. What do you think about that?
I agree that it should have been between Brandon Ingram and Bam. I don't think Luka should have even been on that list.
I don't remember him having a bad season last year. He had a good season.
A good season.
I don't know if he was most improved.
I guess it's because his improvement was so great. But it was weird having him on the list anyways. I forgot the player from the Kings. There's a couple of players in the league that played very well that I don't think should deserve. that deserve to be in this award. But I'm good. I'm good with it. I'm good with Brandon Ingram. I would have been good with Bam. They both played great. So
I know that obviously we made the playoffs and they didn't. But I still think that Brandon Ingram had a great season and he definitely deserved to win it. It wasn't like he got Bam got snubbed or anything like that. It could have gone to either one of those guys, but I'm okay with Ingram getting it. So next up we got Defensive Player of the Year, the Giannis Antetokounmpo won, and he went up against Ant Davis from the Lakers and Rudy Gobert.
Another one.
I think this
Giannis is an absolute monster. When you see his stats on defense and when you see the things he does for his team, that guy really would fit the Heat culture, wouldn't he? Hello? Wouldn't he really fit Heat culture?
I don't know.
Yes, he would.
I don't know.
Yes, he would. He would just have to be Robin because Giannis is a Robin. I'm saying it live right now.
You know what? I'm gonna agree with you.
Giannis is a Robin.
I think he is Scottie Pippen.
He would be the greatest Robin of all time.
I think
he would be a a monster rock.
I think Richard Jefferson was onto something when he said Giannis is Scottie Pippen.
I don't like that comment though.
What? It's not an insult.
It is.
It's not like I'm saying that he's Luke Longley.
But it is. Like,
Horace Grant.
I don't like saying he's a Pippen because.
But listen,
Pippen's up.
Listen to me though. Why I think he is though. So when everything happened, now that they lost, he does this every season where he unfollows all of his teammates on all social media.
Genius move.
And then it reminds me back to when I was watching The Last Dance, and Pippen was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get off-season surgery. I'm gonna enjoy my off-season, be with my family, enjoy this and that, and get away from it all." So it kind of made me think, you know what? Giannis has that same mindset where, you know, he doesn't want to be bothered by fans, and if for some reason they get rid of players, he doesn't want to be like, oh man, like the awkwardness, which I don't feel like there should be because it's not like they really communicate through social media like that. So I feel like he has that mindset. And I don't know, I would love him on the Heat, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he fits this style, like this grittiness where, you know, he's going to be okay with Jimmy Buckets and 5 D-League players or 4 D-League players taking on him and everyone else and beating him like what happened with Karl Anthony Towns. I feel like maybe he's more of that player, and him and Jimmy might not mesh.
I think they will mesh. If anything, I think he'd appreciate a leader like Butler. I think you can tell by Giannis's body and the way he works on the court how he has that dog, the dog to work hard in him, not the dog to finish games necessarily, but I think he has the dog to fit the Heat culture, to grind and to work and to not give up. I just think the team he's in now doesn't fit his skill set. And if you put him in the Heat with our culture, we make sure to take care of our players to fit the team to work around that type of player. I mean,
see, I think more like a Joel Embiid
we have
would fit
shooters.
More of our culture than
we have shooters that aren't afraid to take shots. Unfortunately, okay, Chris Middleton, he's just not consistent. Who's the point guard that they have?
They have George Hill.
Not George Hill. They have another point guard. Wow, I'm so sorry, I forgot his name. Let's look it up, dude. It really is worth looking it up. I don't know why. Any of our fans remember the other guy this is their third guy, dude. It's their third best guy.
It's not George Hill?
No, it's not George Hill, dude. They have actually Bledsoe. It's Bledsoe. He doesn't show up. He's inconsistent.
Yeah, but see, he's one when I don't know what happened to him.
Exactly.
He disappeared.
But that's my point. And with the Heat, Bledsoe, thank you, Kenny. But that's the point. The point I'm trying to say is with the Heat players, we have consistency. We have hustle. You know, we all play well. And if you just add Giannis in there, a guy who plays well every game also, he just unfortunately doesn't play too well because what happens is they close in on him. Because if you just stop him from attacking the basket, that means his team needs to show up to shoot outside shots, and you have inconsistency. If you come to the Heat, you have players outside who make their shots. You have Jimmy Butler who actually shows up and more frequently than a Middleton, than a Bledsoe. I think he'll figure in this culture. But that's besides the point. Defensive Player of the Year, of course, he deserves it. He's a monster statistically and during the season. Next up, I'll bring it up. You tell me what you think. NBA Sixth Man of the Year, Montrezl Harrell. What do you think? Well, I've been saying Harris this whole time. Harrell. Wow, I'm sorry.
See, I thought he had a great season. However, I really like the way that Dennis Schroeder played again in OKC. That team was just
I agree with you on that.
So gritty, and it goes back to what you were saying about Chris Paul. I feel like there was a lot of people saying that we should not get Chris Paul because he's old and the contract and all this nonsense. And I'm like, absolutely not. That guy's still such a gritty player, and he would fit perfect in our system. Chris Paul would have been a great compliment to Jimmy Buckets. You know what? And that was before the season, me not knowing how Dragic was going to be, because now Dragic is playing out of his mind. So a lot of credit to him. But before, he wasn't showing me that player. So I thought Chris Paul would have fit beautifully in the system. So I think how Dennis Schroeder played, though, was way beyond how anyone expected. And he was key coming off that bench. So I think my vote would have gone to him over Harrell.
You know what? You probably convinced me that Dennis Schroeder should have won, because if you look at certain awards, especially like the MVP, you look at what player is most valuable for their team. I think Dennis Schroeder is more valuable for the Oklahoma City Thunder If you know where I'm trying to go with this.
Yeah.
His sixth man is more valuable than what Harold was to the Clippers. So the points he would put in were more important, and the stats he would do for that team, and they made the playoffs. So
and not only that, but if you look at who was nominated, it was him and Lou Williams. They're both on the same team. So how?
You mean the Clippers?
Yeah,
had the two best six.
I don't know how that makes sense to me.
Top 3 6 man. Wait. You're telling me your team is so deep, so good, that you have 2 players for the 6-man award and you still get eliminated? But you all have the best player in the world?
Remember, one of them got distracted.
Get out of here.
One of them got distracted because he was so
still
hungry.
The basement team in the NBA. You're not the best team in your city. You don't have the best player in the world. It's all the Clippers hoopla. It's crazy. You got me saying the word hoopla. I never say the word hoopla. But the Clippers are ridiculous. Go ahead.
They are.
You convinced me on Dennis Schroeder. Good. You got me with that one. NBA Rookie of the Year, John Morant, Kendrick Nunn, or Zion Williamson. I am so happy that Kendrick Nunn got more votes than Zion. I totally agree that John Morant should have won it. I never had that in my mind. He deserved it more than anyone, but I'm glad that Kendrick Nunn got the respect he deserved. Zion did not play. He did not play enough games at the beginning of the season, and due to the pandemic, unfortunately, we couldn't see more of him. So I thought it would have been unfair if he would have won the award anyways. But I'm happy with Morant. There's no question.
I don't think that there was any question. I don't think Zion was going to win this. Unless the season would have progressed. Like if there was no pandemic, Zion was able to play the rest of the season and they made the playoffs, and Zion was going out of his mind like how he was, then maybe Zion would have won it. But with the way the season ended, I don't think there was any way he was going to win it. And yeah, Ja was just out of his mind. I still remember pre-draft, he's saying, Ja's my boy and all this other stuff. I really like him over Zion. And I was like, oh, we'll see. I think Zion's still going to be a monster, and I'm going to stick by that. But how Ja played, and especially, again, in that, the elimination, 8th and 9th seed in the bubble, that game, he was out of his mind. And if it wasn't for McCollum and Whiteside and all these guys playing the way they did in that game, Ja could have easily won that game and just furthered on his, Rookie of the Year campaign. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Ja was winning that, and he definitely surprised me and is quickly turning into a star.
Ja didn't surprise me at all. I probably would have drafted him first overall, honestly. Not that I'm not saying I would. Zion is great, but I would not have been upset if a team would get Ja first. I thought he was that talented, and I knew he was I thought, what I did for sure know was that Ja was probably going to put up better numbers than Zion this year. I did feel that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was all based on if Zion was going to be healthy or not, and the man he didn't start off good.
All right, what's the next one?
Next one, we have Coach of the Year, where Nick Nurse.
Man, this is the first one that I don't agree at all.
Really? So who do you think should have been Coach of the Year?
Billy Donovan deserved it. People kept saying the Thunder were done. You have an old Chris Paul leading your team. You heard all these things, and he made the playoffs and actually did fairly well in the playoffs.
Yeah, it took them to Game 7. Took the Rockets to Game 7.
So I just don't.
And they probably could have done better against the Lakers because they have a true center in Steven Adams.
So I don't understand how.
I think it was based off. Nick Nurse should have won Coach of the Year last year.
Why does Budenholzer even there? I don't even understand.
I guess just because they were the number 1 seed. But I think Nick Nurse should have won last year based on what he did with that team, where they were just losing to the Cavaliers and LeBron every year. They finally make that move and get DeMar DeRozan, who is not a superstar. He's just a good role player.
You want to know what happened?
And
LeBron left the East. That's what happened.
LeBron would have lost. If LeBron stays in the Cavaliers.
I'm not discrediting Nick Nurse.
Yes,
but
I am.
I'm not discrediting Nick Nurse. I'm just saying LeBron left.
Oh, okay.
LeBron left the Cavs.
No, okay. That helped them out. But even if LeBron stayed.
LeBron wins.
No, they don't.
Yes, he does.
No, they don't. Kawhi beats LeBron. The Raptors beat the Cavaliers.
I'm saying this right. No, LeBron wins.
They don't win.
Okay. Either way, I'm Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan
deserved it this year. I think Nick Nurse deserved it last year. This might have just been a makeup.
Gotcha. All right. Here we go for the biggest. Let's get this one over with.
Most valuable player. And no, we're not talking about me on the 4 quarter show. We're talking about the NBA Most Valuable Player. And that was announced today that back-to-back years, Giannis Antetokounmpo won again.
Yeah. And he's so good. Look how far he made it in the playoffs.
It doesn't matter. It's what happens in the regular season. It's not the playoff
I
MVP.
know.
And Giannis deserved it.
No, LeBron deserved it.
No, he did not.
Yes, that team. Yeah, LeBron is amazing. He deserved it this year. His age, his numbers. That's all I gotta say.
Giannis deserved it. Giannis did it with Les. LeBron has AD there to carry him. He has Kuzma. He has Avery Bradley. He's got Dion Waiters.
He's not worried about MVPs anymore. LeBron's chasing the GOAT right now. Giannis, you keep chasing those MVPs. LeBron has bigger things to worry about than
what
MVPs.
About James Harden? No, nothing.
Come on, that's laughable. Nah, man. No. All right, that's that. Let's get to an important topic that I really want.
Whoa. LeBron should have 17 MVPs.
100%. 100%. Yes.
First off, one of those MVPs that he won,
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade deserves. So let's go back. We want to go back to LeBron MVPs.
No.
There's an MVP that LeBron has that Dwayne Wade deserved. That LeBron James did not deserve even to be second place.
LeBron should have won it. Yeah. Go look at their Rose season. LeBron should have won that one too.
You're right. He should have. But that season that
LeBron got screwed over a couple of the Heat seasons. LeBron
won 2 when he was down here.
Go look at LeBron's stats, but there's some seasons where it's laughable who they gave the award to.
You're absolutely right. But then there was one that was laughable that Dwayne Wade should have won. He was the most valuable player, not only to our team, but in the league. And somehow LeBron James won.
Either way, he deserved. Okay, fine. That's 1 out of 15 seasons 16 seasons that he's played. I totally agree.
And last year,
I'm glad we have a fan who's dropping knowledge on you, Melo.
Knowledge, just pure ignorance.
There you go.
He didn't deserve it last year either.
All right.
It's playoff LeBron time. What happened? They didn't even make the playoffs. So don't give me that nonsense. He deserves 17 MVPs. Get out of here.
LeBron James. LeBron, you're the GOAT. And if you're watching this, you're the GOAT. All right.
I think he agreed.
Now let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic. And the next topic,
we're going
Steve Nash.
Ooh.
Steve Nash getting hired by the Nets, and let's talk some Nets basketball.
Your favorite player in the world, Kyrie, the GOAT, the man who saved LeBron.
Man,
I'm going 0-4 against the Warriors.
You know what? The Celtics might need Kyrie this year with those fourth quarter games. If anything, they probably wish they had Kyrie, but Kyrie doesn't stay healthy enough to make it to the freaking playoffs. So it doesn't matter. You've got 2 dynamic duels who may not make it into the season next year in the Nets. Are the Nets exciting on paper? Yeah, Kyrie Irving and Durant exciting on paper, but I think it's the same thing that's going to happen with the Clippers. You have these 2 guys that I just think don't have it. They don't have that factor at the end. I'm always going to say Kyrie. Kyrie isn't the number 1 guy in the team. People want to call him a superstar. I do not think Kyrie's a superstar. Do I think Kevin Durant's a superstar? Absolutely, I do. But do I think that injury may cost him some of his play? Yeah. So
I think Kyrie definitely is a superstar. He proves that in the finals. However, I think the Nets' key thing is going to be whether or not they can stay healthy. And then what system does Steve Nash want to run?
Before the Steve Nash system, are you saying that if you put Kyrie Irving in the Trailblazers, that the Trailblazers will do better than what they did with Dame? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely.
You think?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I
can't disagree with you more than I ever have.
How many games has Damian Lillard disappeared in the fourth quarter?
How many?
So many. Damian Lillard's averaging like 19 or 20 points in the playoffs.
How many teams?
His whole career.
How many teams does Kyrie Irving need to be in for you to show that he's not a superstar? Do you know why he has a ring? Because LeBron did all the work and Kyrie showed up in the fourth quarter.
Right, because Kyrie wasn't also averaging 20 plus
points. Did his job. You know what? He finally stayed healthy and did a hell of a fourth quarter. And I'm never gonna be like, about that. LeBron did the work. LeBron was the guy, the superstar of that team, and then Kyrie was the best role player doing his job as Robin and making the fourth quarter.
I'll say he was Robin, but he saved him.
Kyrie Irving did nothing with the Celtics. That wasn't because of him. And now he's in the Nets and he can't even stay healthy. Kyrie Irving is not a superstar, and he will never. If Kyrie Irving was in the Trailblazers, not only do they not make the playoffs, but he won't even finish the season.
You know what? I feel like this is actually proving that there's something else going on in the Celtics.
We did talk about that before.
I don't feel like it's Kyrie's fault. I think you can blame them relying on Al Horford for some freaking reason.
Well, he's not even in this team right now. Why would
You're right, and they're doing better. But I just feel like there's something else going on there.
They're actually doing the same. Yeah, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're pretty much doing the same.
Well, at the moment, yeah, because they're 0-2.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing the same they've done in the previous seasons. Better would be if they finally make it to the championship, but they haven't done that. Okay, but the Nets, what are they going to run? Probably D'Antoni style offense, honestly. Some D'Antoni style offense. And you know who's going to be the coach of that team? Durant and Kyrie Irving. That's
so you don't think Steve Nash is going to do it?
I think I didn't say he wasn't going to do it well. I just think they got that coach because that's who they like. That's who's been helping Kevin Durant shooting. And that's just, it's not going to be he coach, I'll tell you that much. It's not going to be go home, go work. I think it's a comfortable coach that they're both okay with, and they're going to be lackadaisical where they're just going to be chill.
So it might be, I wouldn't say more D'Antoni. I'd say maybe he might do more of a Steve Kerr. I feel like it might be something more to that because it's not like Steve Nash is a bum or doesn't know how these games work. I don't feel like it's going to be.
I didn't say he was a bum. I'm just
saying I don't think it's going to be D'Antoni. I think if anything, it'll be more Kerr, like what you're saying. It might be more lax, player coach type of deal. And who knows? I mean, they might actually go out there and play some defense. So I think it might be more courage.
I cannot wait to see how this team goes and see how it's going to implode. It's going to be a disaster.
You think so?
It's going to be a disaster.
I don't think so. If they can stay healthy, I don't think it's a disaster.
All right. So with that, what do you think of Steve Nash getting hired?
I thought it was an interesting choice. I didn't even know that he wanted to be a coach. I thought he was good, doing his like soccer stuff and being an analyst. So it kind of took me by surprise.
Honestly, I think doing the practices with Kevin Durant probably awoke something in him. Doing the rehab with Kevin Durant, and it may have. You know what happened? I think Kevin Durant goes, "How about you coach the Nets?" And that's exactly how it went down. I truly believe that because you know who picks the coaches for teams? The superstar. The superstar does.
You're right. Who can you manipulate? LeBron James has done that all his career.
Jerry Buss said it best. They said Magic Johnson doesn't want. They told him Magic Johnson doesn't want this coach. What are we gonna do? And Jerry Buss goes, change the coach. That's it. And that's why they have Steve Nash, which leads to the next thing. Do you think Steve Nash should be the coach of this team? Do you think he deserved it?
I think he's unproven, so I don't know.
I think it's unfair.
I don't think it's fair for other people who are out there.
I think it's unfair. I think there were so many other candidates, and it's kind of frustrating seeing all the white coaches getting so many more opportunities than some of the black coaches in the league. You have Tyronn Lue, who's
come on, man. Tyronn Lue is not good. But
let me finish.
But he could have fit that system.
You know what? Tyronn Lue has a ring. I don't care what way you put it. I don't care why. Oh, he got LeBron. We're gonna finish. This is the last topic. He has a ring. He was able to lead them to a championship. Okay. So what that shows you is he's able to handle stars. Okay.
Agreed.
Next thing. Tom Thibodeau. Why does he keep getting Tom Thibodeau? D'Antoni.
But isn't Thibodeau in the Knicks?
What I'm trying to say is they keep getting opportunities. They keep getting job offers.
I get what you're saying.
Why? What are they proving? What are they proving? That they can make the playoffs? You get all these white coaches that get multiple opportunities, and that kind of annoys me. Man, Tyronn Lue deserves it. And who's the one that used to coach the Warriors?
Mark Jackson?
How is Mark Jackson? How does he not have a job?
How does he doesn't want it?
I don't know, man. I think he does if you keep hearing some of the on the reports on ESPN and stuff. I think people I don't know.
But see, I agree with you there with Tyronn Lue. Yes, he has a ring, and yes, he has been able to prove that he can at least work around these superstars which maybe is what he could do with the Nets. It's KD and Kyrie's team. So, I'm just going to let them do what they want. And if it's perfect. So maybe that would have been a good hiring. Is he a good coach? I personally don't think so.
Who?
Tyronn Lue. I don't feel like he's a great coach.
I think he's.
I feel like he fits into that. I don't want to say D'Antoni. I think D'Antoni I think is terrible.
I think Kyrie decided not to pick him. I think Kyrie didn't want Ty Lue. He didn't want that. He had him as a coach. He didn't like how he had to work and stuff like that. That's what I think happened. Because I heard that Ty Lue used to push LeBron and Kyrie. That's what I used to hear. Yeah. But what I will say is I don't want to blame the organization on hiring a white coach. I'm going to flip that on the other side. And how I started off by saying that Jerry Buss said, "Oh, just change the coach," because Magic Johnson didn't want him. I believe that's why Steve Nash is the coach. That's why they chose an inexperienced coach who happens to be white. And that's because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving wanted him as the coach.
Or Steve Nash could be the scapegoat if they don't win.
Yeah.
It can easily be like, hey, we didn't win because we got an unexperienced coach here.
Yeah, but because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving chose him.
Exactly. Or the organization. But
that's what I'm saying. The organization is being held by these two players who I believe handpicked Steve Nash. Because what can you do? If your star players want the coach, they want the coach. The star players could have easily said, no, we don't want this white coach. We want this black coach. Well, and that's what could happen. But I think Kevin Durant did want Steve Nash.
I mean, that's what LeBron did with the Cavaliers. David Blatt was
exactly
took the team to the finals, but that's still the best record, and then you fire them.
But that's what I'm saying. You're proving my point because the thing is, I keep seeing reports about, you're getting another white coach. And I agree. I agree with those reports. That's not fair. I want to see more diversity when it comes to coaches. But then I also know that these players can make decisions. And these players decided we want Steve Nash. So
absolutely.
That's the end of the quarter. That was a good third quarter. We did a lot. One more quarter, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody's still enjoying the show. It's a little longer than usual just because, I'm back. And I want to take advantage. I wanted to extend it a little bit, but that was done with basketball talk. I think we talked about everything. Unless you want to do a really quick finals prediction, who's going to win the finals this year? Miami Heat. There, I said it.
We're actually in agreement there. Go Heat, baby!
All right, fourth quarter.
Everyone, throw them fours up, baby. Fourth quarter time. It's time.
So what are we going to start off the fourth quarter with?
All right, fourth quarter. I feel like let's do some NFL talk. No, we're done with week one. Week two already started yesterday. We had the Browns getting that first dub of the season, but Joe Burrow still went out there and 3 touchdowns. He got like 300 yards. He still balled out.
Joe Burrow.
So let's see. How are we going to talk? Get the timer ready?
Yes, sir. Let's put the timer on. Let's do the last quarter.
All right, so week one, we had a lot of guys playing on different teams, but the one that everyone was watching was America's game of the
Brady talk,
which was New Orleans Saints versus the Tampa Brady Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. And of course, the Saints won because Tampa Brady didn't have the Jedi Master there to coach him through the game.
Okay.
Tell me what you think, huh?
All right.
Now what?
Because I'm going to spit the truth because I had to spit the truth and logic, because that's the thing that pisses me off about ESPN and Fox and all these people. They kind of don't talk logically. So I am going to have to explain to people logically about what happened and why Tom Brady didn't win this game, and take it away from, because he didn't have Bill Belichick. You know what happened to Tom Brady? Here's why he lost. Game one was against an amazing team. The Saints, who have a great defense, and they've shown you the past 2 years. The Saints are a great team with a top 3 quarterback in the league, maybe top 5. However you want to say, he's a top quarterback in the league. So Tom Brady goes against this team. No OTAs, no training camp, no preseason games. I'm not someone who likes to make excuses for players. At the end of the day, you got to go out and play and you got to win. But you also got to put it in perspective. Brady's in a new team. He had the same offense for 20 years, and now he had to learn a whole new offense with whole new receivers without any practice, without any training camps. Did he lose? Yes, you have no excuse for that. But I will say I'm not gonna unanoint him or say that it's because he didn't have the mastermind of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time. Tom Brady, best quarterback of all time. All I'm saying is I need 5 games. Give me 5-6 games, and then on the 6th game, I'll start judging Tom Brady. Is he done? We can start having the done talk. Are the Buccaneers good? But game 1, losing to a great team who has most of the same players who have unity. Tom Brady scored 2 touchdowns. Threw 2 touchdowns. He's trying to get used to the offense. So I don't.
And threw 2 picks.
Yeah, but that's just because he's learning the offense. One of them was his mistake. But once you start fixing it, getting used to the players, getting in touch with everything, I think we're going to see a successful season for the Buccaneers. He lost to a great team. What else can you say?
I'm going to say this. I'm going to bring you guys back to a couple years ago with a certain team in the Northeast called the Philadelphia Eagles. And a certain player named Vince Young, who wasn't even the starter, he was a backup, anointing the Eagles the dream team of the NFL. That is exactly what's happening again with these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, Tom Brady's going to come show out. Oh, they got Gronkowski back. They got Mike Evans. They have so-and-so. Now they have Leonard Fournette and Chris Godwin and God knows who. So what? This team is nothing more than Philadelphia Eagles 2.0 dream team. What did Mike Evans do? And everyone's going to give me, he was hurt. Doesn't matter. He was still targeted. He caught, 1 catch for 2 yards? And that 1 catch was for a touchdown. So he made it worth it at least. But besides that, what? It was nothing. Tom Brady, look, no one was running the right routes. And yeah, that can attest to there not being any OTAs, no preseason games or whatever. But it's not like it's only him. It's not the only team. Every other team didn't have any of these practices as well. And some teams, like the New England Patriots, have played a ton of players who decided to opt out from the season. And look at what good old Bill Belichick did over there without all these players. They won. Cam Newton looked dominant. Even them trying to, the Dolphins, they're playing dirty, trying to take his chains off. You know how much those chains cost Miami?
That was disrespectful.
Shouldn't have touched them. So I understand Cam Newton going, ballistic at the end of the game. So I'm not taking anything away from Tom. He's a great player. But like Peyton Manning, sometimes, your time is done. Tom, you should have gone out on top.
Done?
Go ahead. Go.
This is not the Eagles 2.0 at all. This is a different
So if they lose to Carolina,
I guess you're not done.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. If they lose to Carolina this week, what then? Are we still going to blame it? They have to go 0-4?
I said I would like to see 4 games of them learning the team and getting used to it. That's literally what I said.
Okay.
But Bill Belichick played the Dolphins. And I'm going to agree with you. The Buccaneers played like the Giants. That's what happened. The Buccaneers played like the Giants, like a losing team. So we can agree to that. You're right. They went out there and they lost, like the Giants out there. But they played a team that is a great team that doesn't necessarily need OTAs like other teams. Yes, you're right. Even playing field. Just like the bubble, even playing field. No excuses. But they play one of the best teams who have kind of the same offense, the same defense, no changes. You still have Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. And it was a pretty close game for most of the game. Like, they could have won the game, but they don't have that experience. You're right. Michael Thomas didn't show up, but he needs to earn the trust. I don't think this is the Eagles 2.0. You have a leader, and the Philadelphia team didn't really have a leader. Michael Vick and Vince Young aren't really leaders like that. Tom Brady is a proven leader in this league like that. So all I'm going to say is I'm going to give it a couple more weeks. I really want to see it. And I'll be the first person to say if they start losing and he's looking awful, man, Tom Brady's done. But I can't say the man's done right now. I can't. All right, so next let's do
look at Kenny saying Torino says number Tom give us some time, like you're saying, but he said they lose to Carolina. It's going to be a little embarrassing. I agree.
I don't think it'll be a little embarrassing.
I think it will. What does Carolina have? They have Teddy Bridgewater and Christian McCaffrey, and that's about it. And they're going to be running the same thing.
What do you mean? You see the disrespect for Christian McCaffrey.
Oh no, I love Christian McCaffrey. He's a dog. He's an animal.
Saying his name like it's that's.
But it's one player. he's a running back. There's only so much the man can do. He can do it all.
Go to the next topic, man. Go to the next topic.
All right, next up, we're going to go with a team that played yesterday, which is the Cleveland Browns. And that is obviously that first game. They won yesterday. But that first game, things did not go like how anyone expected. And it was a lot of what happened last season. And that was the Cleveland Browns playing like Dookie and Odell Beckham. Don't get excited. Who is to blame for them playing that bad? Is it Baker? Is it the system? Is it Odell that everyone loves to put the blame on him? What do you think?
I think Cleveland is bad, man. I think it's time you gotta fix some of these issues. At the end of the day, I don't know, man. I used to be a big Baker fan, but I don't know if he's cut off for this. I don't see him playing well. I can't blame Odell. I don't know how to blame Odell. He's an amazing receiver, and you have him for the Giants. I don't see how the receiver can be the reason for your organization to lose. At the end of the day, it's the quarterback's fault. At the end of the day, it's on the quarterback's hands. And Odell hasn't. I don't know. Have you seen anything that he's doing that's so destructive or that's so awful for the team? He goes out there, he's. I don't know. I think it's Baker. Baker's not playing too well. Sometimes you just gotta make a tough decision and bench somebody, as much as you're paying them millions, and just see where it goes. But I don't see Baker playing that amazing. That's blowing out my mind. When he has studs. He has studs out there.
I think, yeah, you gotta. I feel like I don't know what it is about Baker. I don't want to put the complete blame on him, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you're gonna get. I think last year he wasn't getting the time he needed. I still got to see a couple more games this year to see if he got plenty of time yesterday, and he did great. So I don't know if maybe the offensive line is to blame. That's what I feel like it is for the Giants. The Giants, after watching that game against the Steelers, I was like, yo, Danny Dimes isn't getting any time. Saquon is not getting any time. He's giving the ball to Saquon, and Saquon's already getting tackled. The guy's already at his legs. So the only thing, the difference between those two things is that the Browns, yeah, Baker might not be getting enough time, but then you have Nick Chubb that's still running for like 80, 90 yards. So what's the problem there? At least with the Giants, it's both. You're not getting time for Daniel Jones and Saquon. Here it's like, okay, you're getting time for Nick Chubb, but not for Baker Mayfield. I feel like there's something else that's up there. I definitely don't think it's Odell's fault at all. It's not Odell's job to get the ball. To throw the ball to himself. It's to get open and catch the ball, and we know very well that he can do that.
I think it's easy to just make Odell the scapegoat in these situations.
Of course.
Quarterback. Yeah, I can't disagree with you, especially about this with the Browns. There has to be deeper issues. You do have.
In that first game, there was a drive where they were like third and like 41. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah,
how are you third down and 41 yards away from the first down? The fact that your team put you in that position is mind-boggling.
It's still a second year with this new coach, young coach that never had any experience. So it might be deeper issues, man. It's a weird situation because they do have great players. They have one of the best offensive players in the league.
If you put the offense on paper, that's a great team you have.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry, Odell.
The juice is man.
I know Njoku's hurt. You have Kareem Hunt. You have Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
those guys are studs.
Strange. But let's move on from Cleveland to another surprise, and that's NFL has no COVID issues yet. What do you think?
I'm completely surprised, especially watching yesterday's game, seeing how many fans were at this game. I was completely shocked that there's not at least one person, since there's no bubble. They're just, going by whatever rules they stated. And we saw how well that worked for Major League Baseball Week 1. So I'm completely surprised. Maybe they learned from baseball and Roger Goodell's implementing more rules, but I'm still completely shocked by it.
Are you saying that players don't have it or that fans?
No, the players.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I
know there was a fan. There was one fan who tested positive.
Well, I saw they had said from the first game, which was Chiefs-Texans, that all the players and coaches had tested negative, but there was one janitor or something like that that tested positive, but that he had no contact with the players. So, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. However, I'm more shocked because it's a contact sport. These guys are breathing heavy on each other. They're sweating it up and all that. They're not wearing masks. So that's why I'm more shocked on that end. And none of the players, none of the coaches have tested positive.
I hear you.
How about you? You're surprised?
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising just because it's not like a bubble.
I mean, if you think about it,
Like
Major League Baseball had people test positive.
Yeah.
And although NBA hasn't had anyone really test positive, now you still have people when they were trying to get them in the bubble test positive, like Michael Beasley.
But I wonder if it's because the NFL is once a week, so maybe that's easier. Not like the MLB that needs to keep traveling, from city to city at times. So maybe that.
But they put themselves in that own predicament.
Oh, I know. But what I'm just saying that about MLB, why they have. So maybe it's not that surprising that the NFL, but it's still surprising, to be able to do that. You still have players traveling. You still have players probably going out, and even though you don't want them to. So
no, I mean they could have, but NFL could have done a bubble too. And my suggestion always was, instead of having it on Sunday, I know it's tradition, Sunday only football, and obviously Thursday now. Why not set up a bubble, have football, have 3 games every single day of the week? You could do 6 of 7, or if you want to do 7 out of 7. You do that, and you do 3 games. I think
the problem with that is you have other contracts. I think the NFL can't do some days. Saturdays, they were going to do Saturday games, but then college football said they were going to continue, and they can't do games on Saturdays because the.
See, I don't know. I feel like college football should not be happening.
But that's hard, man. Because some players who want to get in the league, and
yeah. But see, here's my thing with college football. There's a bigger scale to it. It's not like the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, where these guys are just playing. You have college football where you have students. They're going. Some of these people have to go to class. Imagine if one person in that class has COVID and somehow gives it to one of these guys. Then they go out there on the field, bam, and it just becomes an outbreak that you don't want, and it goes throughout the whole school. It's something that I don't feel like they're thinking about. They're thinking more about their sponsors and not losing money, and the school is getting. So I feel like that wasn't smart for them.
Yeah, man. I agree. But
what do we got next?
We could do MLB early predictions, or save that for next week.
Well, we can do a quick early prediction. I'll let you know who. I know you're a little gone on it. I'll tell you right now what the standings are if the playoffs started today. For the American League, we have the White Sox in first place, then the Tampa Bay Rays, the Oakland Athletics, the Minnesota Twins, the New York Yankees, the Houston Astros, the Cleveland Indians, and Toronto Blue Jays would make the playoffs in the American League. From those teams, who do you think, and I gave it to you in order, 1 through 8, who do you think would make the World Series from them?
How about you tell me what you like?
I'm going to go super homer on this. I'm going to say the Yankees. Right now, the Yankees are getting healthy right on time. You had Stanton and Judge go out early. So they were getting their rest. Stanton's going to be
perfect, 15 minutes.
Stanton's going to be wrapped up in bubble wrap for the playoffs. So I'm good with him. All he's doing is DHing, so he should not be getting hurt. All he's doing is DHing. He's not out there catching fly balls, beaming the ball, nothing. He should not be getting hurt. So I'm going to say the Yankees come out of the American League.
Well, lucky for you, I do love the flipping Yankees. They're my favorite team. Besides the Marlins, but I hear Tampa's playing very well this year.
They are,
and Tampa has been there before. I'm just saying it better than no other time. Right? I think I'm gonna go with the Yankees. I really am a big fan of the Yankees, so it's hard not to be a homer on this one because I do look. But it's a condition on them having to be healthy. If they're not healthy and some of these guys don't come back, then.
So, but I feel like, Stanton is benefiting. Well, the games that he's played, he's benefited so much from not having fans. He's just out there and being able to play baseball and not worried about people booing. He's not like, you put A-Rod, I feel, in this position, A-Rod would be dominant because he doesn't have to worry about the crowds booing him and calling him A-Roy, none of that. And I feel like that got to A-Rod's head, and I feel like it did to Stanton too. So I feel like Stanton now is going to go out there, doesn't have to worry about anyone booing him, calling him a bust or an injury-prone player or whatever. and just going to go out there and play. All right. So now we have the National League. I'm going to give it to you in order. We have the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Chicago Cubs, the Atlanta Braves, the San Diego Padres, the Miami Marlins, Cincinnati Reds, San Francisco Giants, and Philadelphia Phillies.
Dodgers are gonna bust like usual.
You think with Mookie Betts out there?
Yeah. And then
No fake.
it's gonna be between the Padres and the Marlins. And I say that because I'm a homer with Miami.
You're going all homers.
And I lived in San Diego for 3 years, so I would love my second home to make it to the World Series. That'll be awesome. Shout out to Tony Tone, my boy from San Diego.
I'm going to say I feel like it's really hard to root against the Marlins in a wild card position just because
That's how we do it.
they're 2-0, 2 World Series.
Man, would you imagine the Heat win and then the
That's what I'm saying. And the way the
nobody's out.
And it's not like the Marlins are, just scraping by. They're playing great.
Yeah.
And no one expected it. Even after they had basically their entire team get COVID and had to bring up an entire new roster, props to Derek Jeter for keeping this team together. And then even at the trade deadline, getting Starling Marte, that was huge. His first game in the Marlins uniform, home run, walk-off victory. Like, that was amazing. You can tell this organization is changing, and it's winning. Derek Jeter's winning me over more and more. And I'm starting to become a Marlins fan. I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck in, they get hot at the right time.
Man, how interesting would it be if Miami gets 2 championships in 2020 and we can't even party, we can't go out on the streets, we can't celebrate?
Damn right. Miami's still gonna go out to 40 with pots and pans.
All right, and with that, let's end 4 quarters and go to overtime.
Everyone's favorite.
A couple topics we didn't hit tonight, but we'll do it next time.
OT.
So what are we talking about in OT?
All right, first up, we'll talk about a little gaming.
OT.
And that is now everyone ordering the PS5 or the Xbox X Series, I believe is what it's called, correct? Series X?
Xbox Series X, because Microsoft does not know how to name their flipping consoles.
They definitely don't.
Jesus Christ, Xbox 360.
And then
Which makes no sense, because if you do a 360, you're going all the way back to where you started. Xbox One. And now, the Xbox Series X.
You would think Xbox One would be the original, like a PS1.
It's not. I thought they were saying Xbox One because they thought they were going to do the Xbox 2X. No, they go, hey, Xbox Series X. What? Why?
Xbox X.
Jesus. The next one's going to be the new Xbox. Or you know what? They're going to get just like the Washington football team. It's going to be the Microsoft Xbox console. Just boom. That's a nice name. The Microsoft Xbox console. Boom. Period. Leave it like that. So we have a group of friends that play 2K. We love 2K. And I guess that collectively we all decided that we're going to get the Xbox Series X first. I don't know how I feel about that. Breaking news, my nephew doesn't know this yet. He's also a gamer. He's probably going to get the PS5. Well, I don't blame him, but I want to get the PS. I'll probably get the PS5 after. But I think Xbox Series X is where we're on.
So you're planning on getting both?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
See, I don't know how I feel about that.
Absolutely.
I've never owned 2 systems just because I don't know. I wouldn't know how to split my time playing both unless, like, for example, now there's a game that I really want to play that I can't, which is Fall Guys, and it's on PlayStation, and I can't play it because I have an Xbox One. I like it. Can you chime in? Those broken little hearts?
That's breaking news to him that I said Xbox Series X, not the PS5. But the PS5 will be coming.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm torn. Like, which one am I going to play? And I hate the fact that they're coming out in November, and we just had a new game that we all got.
That is the biggest robbery. I swear, the NBA 2K people don't give me a discount after I drop almost $200 on my character, on all these
and
points.
Then all of our wins, like all of our stats and stuff just goes back to 0, and I got to create a new guy. Like, I'm still I'm on the fence still, so I can still be convinced on whether to get a PS5 or the Xbox Series X.
Yes, but nonetheless, we're going to get the system because that's what us gamers do. And
See, that's the game I want to play. It looks like so much fun.
Tell me about Fall Guys. I don't know about Fall Guys.
So Fall Guys, let's say it's about, think of it like, what is this Modern Warfare game? The Warzone?
Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Battle Royale.
Think of it like that, right? But everyone's like this like little guy, right? And you're going through like an obstacle course, and they start eliminating people. Like I think there's about like 4 or 5 rounds they eliminate people. So let's say it's 60 people start off. You go through this obstacle course and they keep changing every single time. Then they're only going to take about 30 people to the next round. So you have to try to be one of those 30.
Is it a shooter?
People. No. It's like an obstacle course.
Oh.
So let's say,
but like as like you take your character through an obstacle course.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're like there's like things turning and things trying to push you off to eliminate you. And you can dress up your little guy like in a hot dog or a pirate. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Think of it like Wipeout in video game form. Thank you, Kenny.
Yes. All right, got it. Perfect. That sounds like fun.
And then at the end, they crown one winner, so it's like a battle royale. And you get like a little crown and everything.
Got it. Oh, that's cool. I gotta check it out. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
But
So then we have another game we just teased about, which was NBA 2K21 coming out not too long ago.
Yeah, 2K21 is the same game. The same game. I don't know why people are out here saying that it's an amazing game. Yes, it's an amazing game, but it's the same.
They changed things though.
It's
the neighborhood is different.
Oh wow, they changed the park. I'm so grateful. The same park I had to run to go do something. Why can't you just put the shoe store right next to the docks? Like put docks next to the shoe. Everything. Why is everything so separate? You had to run to that.
That's the only thing I don't think I like about it. Like
God,
I went to go get an outfit, and I'm like, okay, like I feel like I should just be able to go to my like little screen, my little phone, and be able to be like, yeah, I want to buy this outfit. Not run to a store. Like I don't like doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of
wasting time.
And but you know what? Maybe it was like GTA. Maybe I could punch you in the face right before walking in somewhere and steal your shoes. That'll be freaking dope. But no, I'm just walking to go to Dog Bees and walking.
It's like I just wasted $8K on a shoe.
I don't mind walking to the court and picking what to do, but having to walk to all these things, Xbox doesn't have God of War. I know, and Spider-Man. There's a bunch of dope games that aren't for the Xbox that I like. So, anything else?
I can't think. What else do you want to add?
I actually want to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg that passed away today. She's a Supreme Court justice. She's a judge for us, and since I'm in law school, it's kind of something meaningful. She was an amazing woman and a judge for this country. So, I appreciate all her hard work. I just wanted to give that moment to pay my respects to her. So, thank you for everything, and we're all going to miss you.
R.I.P.
Big part of American history, so that's why I had to bring that up.
All right, damn. Just got us on a little bit of a down start there.
Oh, sorry. I just had to bring it up. My bad.
But we talk about everything here on the 4-Quarter Show.
Yes, we do.
So to kind of lighten things up, though, you mentioned to me that you watched Mulan.
Oh my goodness!
So I need to hear about this because I've been thinking about forking over the $30 to Disney.
Do not give. You know what? Just give me the money, or you either give me the money or grab it, rip it in half, and throw it away. Because that's what's gonna happen.
That's how bad Mulan was.
Man, it was not a good movie. It was not even the CGI was bad. You're gonna pay $30 for a very nice screensaver because it just had nice scenery. So just go to your settings, go to your screensavers on your computer, and just go look at the pretty scenery because that's what you're gonna pay $30 for. Like the movie was not good. There's so many reasons why. Is the worst you see? There you go.
Wow.
There you go. Worst Disney movie I have ever seen. It was bad, man. And you know what? And you know why it was bad? It was bad because they're trying to appease every culture. They're trying to appease Americans and the Chinese culture, which I totally understand. But it doesn't match well together. They took off everything that made Mulan so amazing and tried to appease.
So I guess I'll chime in here since I haven't seen it. I know that they said they weren't going to do Mushu, which I thought was really big because Mushu was huge. So I'm right? No Mushu?
No Mushu. They replaced it with some phoenix in the air.
Oh.
It doesn't talk, just like a shadowy figure. Mm-hmm.
Great. And then no singing?
No singing, none of the music. You would only hear maybe an old Mulan song. In the background is like a little sound. So you took off everything that made a Disney movie. It's like having Aladdin, taking out the genie and taking out all the songs.
Or the Lion King without any of the songs.
It kind of makes no sense. And also, you take out Mushu, which I understand why you took him out, because of Chinese culture, you're being disrespectful to them. But you needed to add another character to replace the comedy that Mushu brought.
Couldn't they have, instead of having Mushu be a dragon, couldn't Mushu have been a person?
I'm sure. Just someone that could have made it funny, something that could have changed it, But I guess they didn't want to be disrespectful. But with that, you're just making a movie that's different. It's not Mulan. It's not the one we saw here when we were kids. And it wasn't fun to watch. It was very boring. There was no character development. It was very bland. But I think what bothered me the most is Mulan's story is now different, where in the original movie, you saw her having to rip off her hair to become this warrior for her father. I understand why they took that off of the movie, because back then in Chinese culture, you didn't have to, everyone had long hair. Totally understand. But you should have substituted that with another scene to show the struggle of what she was doing, that she was becoming a different person, or doing some sacrificing for her family. Where in this movie, she's just holding the sword and she's then in an army suit and then off. When in the original Mulan, there's actually a montage. There's this amazing song. She's cutting her hair. You see her putting on the clothes, and you see the sacrifice she's making for her family.
I think not having any music, any songs,
destroyed
a mistake.
And also, what they did that was messed up was, which I think was a disservice, is, and it's not a spoiler. It's in the beginning of the movie. They tell you Mulan has it's called a chi. She has this pretty much superpower in her that gives her this power, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's a disservice to give her that, because in the original Mulan, she was just a regular woman who was sacrificing for her family and went to war. And she not only trained to become smarter than men, to become stronger, but she also used her wits to outsmart men. When she climbed the pole and got the arrow.
Yeah.
So you see that she was competing with the men and showing how strong she was. Now, in essence, what you're doing in this new Mulan movie is you're saying, oh, you have to have a certain superpower. You kind of alienate people like that. Like,
you're
why are you doing
saying
that?
That she needed something extra that she couldn't have done it on her own.
Exactly. Yeah. So what you're pretty much telling certain women is, oh, you have to have some certain power to like be. Why? You could be born the way you are. Exactly. And like Mulan in the original movie, you worked hard, you did this and this, and then you became strong. So the whole movie was a disaster. It was very boring for $3, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Wow. Well, then,
I do love Disney movies. Yeah, I just saw the comment. You can put that. Yeah. I love Disney movies. I'm a Disney annual pass holder. I go to Disney every time. I can't wait for it to be safe to go. They say it's safe to go, but I'm not going to go yet. I can't wait.
I feel like it might be safe if you do like something. I don't know. Like, for example, like food and wine might be a little bit safe, no?
You're not 2020 is no.
But I'm just saying, you're not going into any rides. If you're just going about your business, it's like going to, I don't know, going out here to a restaurant.
You know what it is? I think it's less to do with it that it's not safe, and more to do with it's not the Disney experience. You got to wear the mask. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of protocol.
But let's be real. I feel like the masks are gonna be something that we're gonna have to get used to. For a while.
I think after the election is going to cool down.
I don't think so.
I think after the election is going to cool down. I think it's pretty soon something's going to happen where it's not going to be that.
But see, you want to know why I don't feel like that? Because I feel like there's so many different things that. So I'll give you a great example here. When we were young, everyone out there watching who was young, a couple years ago, you drop a piece of food on the floor, a Cheeto, 5-second rule. That shit's gone now. No one's doing any 5-second rule now. It's something, a Cheeto drops on the floor, you're grabbing it and throwing it in the garbage. You're not picking it up and saying, oh, I was only there for 2 seconds, I'll eat it. That's gone now. There's no 5-second rule. That's dead. Okay. And something that we're going to have to tell our kids that we did, and they're going to be like, wow, you were disgusting, Dad.
Maybe. I honestly, I think it's going to go away.
Oh, I guess we're going to have to see.
We've had different viruses come and go. I know this one's more serious than the other ones, but.
Of course. And it's something that, with their Ebola, the bird flu,
Yeah,
swine flu,
like viruses come, new things come, and this is just.
but it's never attacked us this much. Like it's attacked other areas, and I feel like this is the first time
they have attacked us. They have attacked us like this.
Not to this extent.
I think media portrays it to be one of the worst. Like, but it is bad. I'm not saying it's not. It's not. All I'm trying to say is that the media definitely puts a little extra emphasis on it. I think it's.
I don't want to get into media because
I think it's going to go.
I'm very biased on this whole.
Because
trying to blame the media.
We are media.
Yeah.
That's why we don't blame the media. But I'm saying everyone is out to their opinion, and I feel by next year it's going to start. It's going to be normal. Once the election's over and everything gets back to normal, people got to make money.
No, you're absolutely right.
But
I'm saying I feel like the mask is something that got introduced, and it's going to be new. Before, I would never see the mask. I would only see the mask like if you go somewhere and then like someone's sick. I feel like now to try to prevent anyone from getting sick, and that's a mindset I feel like people need to start thinking. The mask isn't made to, for yourself. It's to prevent other people from getting sick. So if I'm sick, even if I have a normal common flu, I'm not trying to get you sick with that because I don't know what you have. Yeah, so I feel like it's something brand new that, of course, let's say COVID goes away and we get back to normal. I still think that maybe if I'm sick and I want to go out to the grocery store,
wear a mask.
I'm gonna wear a mask to prevent
I think that'll be dope
from getting sick.
I think that'll be dope if people constantly live that way. Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying as a society, we're not going to make it mandatory like we do not.
No, yeah, at a certain point, once it goes away.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm just saying that. Let's say, like I said, if a year from now we're back to normal, I'm sick.
Perfect world, dude. That'll be amazing.
I'm gonna wear a mask to go out because I don't want to get you sick.
People aren't that thoughtful like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. People complain about wearing them now.
I know. And if that was how the world was, that'll be amazing. If you were sick and you stayed home, but no, people like to go out. But I feel it's gonna change, man. It's gonna get back to normal. 2021.
I hope so. But before I guess I know you want to wrap up. You brought up Mulan, saying how we shouldn't watch it. I'm gonna give you guys something to watch, and that is hopefully. I'm pretty sure everyone has Netflix now. Before this show was on YouTube, and not a lot of people had that system. But now that it got bought by Netflix, everyone out there, look me in the eyes. If you need to, go watch The Karate Kid first. And then go watch Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is amazing. I've seen that show in its entirety twice, and there's 2 seasons. And it's just nostalgia on nostalgia on nostalgia. I grew up loving The Karate Kid, loving the real Karate Kid, which was William Zabka. It wasn't Daniel San, none of this nonsense. He was not the real Karate Kid. He didn't know karate. He just knew how to defend himself and then take a cheat shot at the real Karate Kid. Go watch Cobra Kai. You will not be disappointed. It is great.
Yes, it is.
And then you come back and tell me, Mello, you were right, like always.
All right, I'll let you know. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for guys having me back. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you back.
Thank you, Mello. All right, so to everybody, we'll see you next week, and I'm going to show you how I become the halftime champion.
Oh, we'll see, or will this guy still be top dog?
All right, go Heat.
Go you guys. Have a good night, guys.